In yesterday's YouTube short, we showed you guys a simple way to gap shoot the 0-1 trap out of the gun tight. And yes, the A.J. Dillon Quadzilla is the real deal. But I don't think it's on the level of Eric Dickerson in Madden 20 like a lot of players are saying. So let's expand upon yesterday's short and show you guys a few ways to attack this particular meta. What is up, guys? Zam from the Zam Madden YouTube channel. And as if the gun tight offset tight end meta was not hard enough to defend, now we have to worry about the Quadfather. This has been a hot button topic in the community over the last couple of days since the AKA new class dropped in Madden Ultimate Team. There is an X factor on the Quadfather. We talked about it yesterday in a short that costs 1 AP, which basically gives him freight train to open up the game. For those that don't know, this is an ability that requires that you have to tackle him for a loss in order to knock him out of the zone. To make matters worse, A.J. Dillon also has persistent 4-0 in the 4th bucket in his ability list, which means you have to tackle him twice for a loss to knock him out of the zone. Even worse is once he's out of the zone, his ability does fire back up 5 plays after, so basically he's only mortal for 5 plays after you knock him out of the zone. This has led towards a lot of players wanting to have this nerfed, and I would agree. I would say at least persistent needs to be something that should cost AP. But there are answers for how to deal with this. Now, some of it could be user gap shoots. I think the best players all have gap shoots for the best runs in the game, whether it be 0-1 trap or stretches or base calls or inside zones. We know how to basically do this. Now, the other thing that is very, very important is the secure tackler ability, and this is what tells me that Quadfather might be here to stay, is that EA is starting to release some discounted tackling abilities in Madden Ultimate Team. For instance, that Mike Dana item on the Kansas City Chiefs Team of the Week 18 that has 0 AP secure tackler. That's a good item to probably have on your bench as a backup option in the event you're facing this A.J. Dillon, because as we know, block sheds are very, very frequent in this game. Having D linemen that can just pop off of blocks, disengaged, or not be blocked at all in a lot of cases will be key to have a secure tackler at that position to bring him down in the backfield for a loss. And then of course you're going to want secure tacklers on your user. EA is going to start to drop those in the game sporadically. I would say a little bit more often than sporadically, but Adrian Wilson is a Legends item that must be on your roster. You guys need to go out and get him. I could see his price probably going up because you're going to want lots of players that have secure tackler. This is an ability that will prevent the Quadfather from breaking that guaranteed tackle if he's hit by a secure tackler when he's glowing. So this can kind of revert the game back to normalcy if you have secure tacklers on the field. Most players don't want to pay AP for it, but you're going to need to roster these players as is. Now let's go ahead and get into more of a how-to of today's video. We're going to break down how to basically gap shoot the most popular concept that you're going to face, which is going to be the 0-1 trap out of the gun tight offset tight end. Now, the first way that I'm going to show you is a user-reliant play. The second one is going to be just a straight-up run blitz that's very, very consistent. So let's go ahead and get into this. This setup is going to be out of the nickel over or the nickel over G. Really, any 4-down lineman defense where you can stack 2 linebackers will suffice. I'm going to choose the nickel over G because I've got a really cool trick that you guys can use if your opponent flips. And this is going to make it so that way you only have to have 1 user linebacker with secure tackler rather than a bunch of them. So over G, and you can call any play you want. I'm going to call Tampa 2. Now, as you can see, we've got the Quadfather glowing here on this. Now, I'm not going to press. I'm not going to do anything other than just pinch my line and stack my linebackers. Just going to put them right here. And then from there, I would say all you really want to do is open up the defensive line by crashing your defensive line up. So what this does is this makes it so that the gap is going to open. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your user and you're going to do the manual lock-in trick. I've talked about this before here on the channel, but what you're going to do is you're going to hit A or X if you're on PlayStation, and then you're going to flick the right stick up to bring up the individual coverage icons. What this does is it locks your user in place so you can hold down on the stick and your player will not move pre-snap. So what I will do is I will hold down and I'm running straight down at the snap through the guard that is vacating the left A gap. And I'm going to be able to fly in and make this secure tackle in the backfield. So there's 1. That's your first tackle for loss. We'll do this again here because we do have persistent on the Quadfather. Again, you just pinch your line, stack your linebackers, crash up, lock him in place, ball snapped, fly through, make a tackle. He's now out of the zone, he's mortal, and now your opponent is playing down in AP. So the cool part of the big nickel over G is that if you call this with auto flip off, and you call this with the nickel corner to the left side of your screen, you will be able to shoot this gap just the same with your nickel corner regardless of where they line up. So in this instance, I can still user Adrian Wilson, lock in, and fly through the middle and make my tackle. But let's say on the next down, our opponent comes out with their running back on the user side that we were just using. Again, keeping in mind we only have one secure tackler. What you want to do is you want to analyze this by pinching your line first, crashing up, and if the running back is on the side of your user, pinch your linebackers. You'll notice that they flip-flop. And this is going to flip your linebacker to the other side, allowing you to pull up that same gap shoot. So now you're in a situation where I can lock in Wilson and still fly in and make this tackle from the other side. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you could still go ahead and just pinch your line, stack this guy here, manually move this guy there. Like, that's totally up to you. It's probably not the best use of your time. The other issue is you might end up with this guy running back to the other side, and if they quick snap you, now you're in trouble. But this tactic will work as well. You can still shoot the gaps and make these tackles. Again, I would recommend probably not trying to hit stick, just wrap up and make a tackle in the backfield for a loss. So again, if they come out and they have the running back on the side that you want to be on, then you just flip your linebackers. So just pinch them. Really, really that simple. So this is basically a really cool trick. This is one of the reasons why the gun tight, or the big nickel over G, handles the gun tight a little bit better. I personally believe. Again, as you see right here, I'm coming through clean every single time with this. The one thing you want to be careful with is not to try to really hit stick, because he can break that tackle very, very frequently. If you just run through with a secure tackler, you will be just fine. Just wrap up, hit A, or you could even dive if you want to. Dive tackles do work if you want to use that as well. But that is an easy way to knock them out of the zone. Now, the next part I'm going to show you is out of nickel over, and you want to run this out of pretty much any play except for Overstorm Brave because of the fixed blitz angles in the Overstorm Brave. So I'm going to show this to you out of, say, like cover one hole, or maybe even cover one robber. It's kind of up to you what you want to do this out of. But with this particular setup, what you're going to do is you're going to run the pinch meta. So when this is being run, we're just going to pinch. We're going to crash our defensive line up, and we are going to blitz the linebackers. And you see that the linebackers blitz into the interior gaps. If you were to run that with Overstorm Brave, this blitz setup is not possible. Now from there, what a lot of players will do is they'll go and they'll user the B gap on the running back side, because that is the player that they need to cover out of the backfield if there's a quick pass. Now, of course, pay attention to your alignments. You can put guys in, man coverage with this. But when you stand right here in this situation, you're going to get guys flying in, and you see that two players hitting the running back in the backfield will shut this down very, very consistently. This is not something that you have to worry about at all, because it's a gang tackle. So again, it's just nickel pinch, crash up, blitz your linebackers so they blitz the A gaps, and then come down and stand over basically the B gap. And again, if they run this, you're going to see you're going to have two guys in free instantly. They can gang tackle. There's not going to be any situation where a Quadfather can break that tackle at all. Also, keep in mind, this is something you can do out of zone. If you want to pinch, crash up, global blitz, this is now cover 3 zone. Obviously, you probably will want to adjust your coverage if you're going to run zone off of this. My recommendation is probably rotate this safety, or, probably play a hybrid coverage. Maybe it's man to one side and maybe zone to the other. You can do whatever you want. You can take the risks that you want, because this actually is going to be a pretty effective blitz as well. And the reason I say that is, like, if they do call a pass play and they block this running back, you're going to end up with, you should end up with somebody coming in free. You just got to cover just for a little bit. So it's really not that difficult to guard this meta with the Quadfather glowing. So there you guys have it. Time to shut down the Quadfather with the 0-1 trap. Probably the most common thing you're going to face moving forward as you guys play through this game. This is something that is frustrating. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Honestly, Quadfather is better served in offenses that aren't obvious. 0-1 trap is a great run. It has counters that are consistent. This is something that the community has labbed. People know what to expect with 0-1 trap. A lot of players have trap defense, but there are really easy ways to shut down the Quadfather in that. Now, a multiple run scheme where people are mixing in all kinds of different run schemes, inside zones, bases, counters, powers, you know, all these traps, all kinds of different runs, stretches. That's going to be really where it's going to be tougher to stop him. And that's where I'd strongly urge you guys to go over to gridirongameplans.gg. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. See you guys right back here tomorrow with our next video upload and our next YouTube short. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab and good luck.